All right, so good to have you, Sean. Look, let's go over the absolute basics of, I'm going to call this digital marketing, but then traditional marketing goes in there as well. So I want to start. The most important thing is to understand your facility and kind of understand your budget. Here I say budget first. Because look, if you have a 10,000 square foot facility, and you're doing $7,000 a month versus a 50,000 square foot facility and you're doing tens of thousands a month, that's going to greatly change your marketing budget. And this is a problem with going to some of these marketing companies, especially digital marketing. If they don't ask you, what is your monthly revenue? How much do you want to spend on marketing? What is your goal? How are you ranking currently? What is your customer value? What's your average customer lifetime, which is how you calculate total customer value? If they're not asking you these things, then they don't know about marketing. I mean, that's the first part of marketing, is to say, how is the money that I'm putting into marketing, how is that going to eventually turn into revenue? And so that's the entire frame of all of this. Like, how much does it cost to run an email campaign? Again, assuming time is money, right? Because you might be paying somebody for their time or your own time. So time is money. But even so, a quick email campaign to your current customers, I mean, I'll bang that out right now in 15 minutes, and I'll do all current customers, they get a $50 coupon if they refer another customer. So it's like, why wouldn't you do something like that? Obviously, that $50 costs money as well, but you get what I'm saying. Low tier stuff that's easy to do, that has moderate benefit or can convert a good amount of customers, you should be doing. So that's the overall frame. More intro. Just do a little research. 3 searches: marketing your self-storage facility, watch 5 videos on YouTube. SEO for small business, watch 5 videos on YouTube. Setting up your Google My Business, which is actually called Google Business Profile now, but it's Google My Business is still the most popular search term. Watch 5 videos. Super easy. And then if you like this content, we're going to make it into a blog post, but if you could add a link to your website, linking back to mine helps with SEO. Backlinks are important. All right, so we talked about budget, customer value.
Real quick, yeah. On the backlink, can you just touch on that real quick? Because I think for a lot of people, myself like included, right? Like, I don't understand the importance of those backlinks and like why you have them in. Like, so how beneficial?
Yep. So first of all, Google's algorithm, right? This is a very complex algorithm with, I think, like thousands of different things it takes into consideration on when to rank a website when you search something. So you search self-storage. Well, what does it look at? It uses that search term, and then it looks at millions and millions of websites, and it uses the location that you searched from to give you results. So when we talk about SEO, in general, we're talking about Google, not Bing. I'm not really trying to optimize for Bing. But when you talk about SEO, there's thousands of things you can optimize, and it gets super complex. One of those things is backlinks, meaning how many times is your website mentioned throughout the internet. And if any SEO person tells you, like, oh, you got to do this, they're kind of BSing you a little bit, because SEO is more of like a big effort. It's how big is your website? How many backlinks? How quality is your content? Where is your website mentioned throughout the internet? Like, all these things come together into the giant algorithm. So it's not like this one simple trick, like search engines hate this one simple trick. It's not that. It's building a quality website. In general, that's what Google is trying to do through their complex algorithms. One of those things is backlinks. So the more my blog is mentioned on other websites throughout the internet, the higher it ranks. Just another, you're always cultivating. You're just kind of always cultivating your website, cultivating SEO, cultivating quality content. So that's why I like backlinks. And then, of course, a backlink as well does literally drive people to your website. And then you got to ask, why are you driving people to your website? Depends on what your website does. For me, gets my name out there, lets people know about me, lets people know about what I do. things like that. And then of course increases the SEO by increasing backlinks. So does that make sense? It's a big picture kind of thing. All right, customer value. This is a standard formula. Your customer value at a self-storage facility equals what? Well, the average monthly rate that each customer is paying you. So assume you only have 10 by 10 units. Well, then your average customer monthly rate is just what your average rate for what a 10 by 10 is. So your average customer rate times your average customer lifetime in months. So at one of our facilities, our average customer lifetime is 18 months. So the value of the customer over the lifetime, the customer lifetime value is 18 times whatever our average rate is. And that's important to know, because one customer, if you can drive 100 users to your website and convert just one more of them per month, that greatly increases your revenue. So another little thing, if you got a little downtime, I'm going to go through all this stuff. You can do a lot of this. You hear me kind of trash talking SEO companies and digital marketers and how that's a scammy kind of industry. Of course, there's good ones, and I'm not a SEO professional. I just do SEO professionally for our own company, but I'm not like some technical SEO. I am not an expert. No way. But I think I can explain the big picture and integrate. I can have conversations with an SEO expert from a business standpoint better than a lot of the SEOs can talk about the business side of what they do. Because again, it all matters, your ad spend or your marketing spend, and then how much of that actually converts. So if you got a little downtime, do some of this stuff that I'm going to talk about. Why marketing? Well, you can rent more units, obviously. Once you have 100% occupancy, which shouldn't have 100%, but you understand that whole thing. Let's say your goal is 90% occupancy. Well, you can drive rates higher by marketing more, because once you're at 90%, the only thing left is marketing. 90% occupancy. That's the only thing that's going to drive your rates up higher, is getting more quality, higher end customers into your units. Long-term benefits. You can look at marketing in the short term, right? Lease up, very short term. You're going to do different stuff during lease up, and then long term, drive prices, keep customers. And then the other thing, I was just kind of thinking of this myself. If I'm looking at a facility and I go to an area and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll buy this facility, and I see like 4 competitors and we're at like 8 square foot of market or 8 square foot per capita. I'm like, maybe I could push this market a little bit. But then I see all 4 of those facilities are doing really high quality digital marketing. Like you can tell they got their Google business profile, they got their website. It's like real tight. Their Google business profiles like really flushed out, and they might even be bidding on keywords. I'm like, that's a scary market, versus I look at a market and I see Jim's self-storage, Bob's self-storage, and they don't even have their Google business profile ranked. I mean, come on, I'll dominate number 1 with basically no effort at all. And that gets again to how much you're spending.
And not only that, right? Like if you enter a new market and market rates are what about $1 a square foot, right? Your 10 by 10s are getting $100, but you look at everyone's SEO, like you're looking at their websites, you're looking at their Google My Business, their online presence, right? And if it's all really poorly done, then you probably realize like, hey, the true market rents, true market value has not been found. So all these people are getting $1 a square foot and their online presence is terrible. So you might be able to get in there, right? And then push it to $1.25 a square foot, literally be the only business doing it, just because you know how to get up there on Google, and just you can dominate SEO.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's like, because if you got all these guys and they don't have any good digital marketing, SEO, digital marketing, whatever, then they're probably not pushing market rates. Yeah, so who knows what the market rate is?
That's where a lot of opportunity is when a true market rate value has not been found, and you have the opportunity to be the top company in there to go find what that is, and it's all supply and demand. You keep pushing until until like the demand really starts dropping. You know, once it starts getting low mid 80s, you're like, okay, you probably reached the top of it. But
Yeah.
SEO is how you do that, I would imagine.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And I'll go into some of the physical stuff. And again, like I haven't done every single one of these things. I'll go down to like, you know, those guys that hold signs in the streets and like wave and flip the signs, the sign flipper guys. Like we haven't done that yet, but I don't know. You could get your cousin to do it and see how much it costs. Like we could get Clayton to do it. He'll do it for a day. And I don't know, maybe we get like 10 customers from Clayton doing that. So I don't know. It might be worth trying. Anyway, so let's actually, and this is the other part that I kind of like hate about a lot of these like SEO guys. Yes, this is a little bit of a lecture, but we could have, and me and you, Sean, are doing this like kind of a longer format. It might take whatever, 45 minutes or something, but like you could do this in 15 minutes. You just rip through it. But
well, I think that what you need to do is like, if it's a separate video or in here, it's like 5 action items and like the frequency of when to do them. And when we get in this, by the way, I'd like to ask you more details on drone video stuff and how that can.
It's like, just okay. Well, so the first thing I say is like photo, right? You need photos for all your content. So that's it. Get some darn photos. What the hell are you doing? You know, hire a guy.
Put them on your Google My Business, right?
Dude, I think I have it here somewhere. Where are you going to put them? Facebook, Google My Business, Yelp, whatever, your website, you know, a bunch of different places. You're going to need photos. So like, just get them. That's one thing that we got to do too for our one facility. Like I could use more photos. Like I don't want to keep reusing the same ones. You have photos of whatever, the inside, the outside, a drone shot. Like you can go to snapper.com. I used the guy from Snapper. He was like $200, and the pictures. I don't know if you told me this even. The pictures this guy did for one of my apartments, basically, they're like amazing. They're so nice, and who knows how much when if I go to sell that apartment, those apartments, like that might increase the value of the apartments by like $20K. You know, right? When somebody looks at it like, wow. So this should be another.
Now let's just drone video in particular, right? So you can go to, when you're managing your Google My Business, you can add photos on there. People can review with photos. Can you add a drone video to your Google My Business profile?
Yeah, you can add videos. I don't know if we have any, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. Not 100%, but I'm almost 100% sure you can. You can definitely add them to Facebook and all these other places. So yeah, why not have a couple of videos?
Yeah, that's something I tried doing recently, like have a drone video of one facility I have, and it just said you could upload photos, but it didn't say anything about video, so I haven't figured that out.
But you can put it in other places too. You know, it could link to your website or Facebook or some updates. Yeah.
Does Facebook, is Facebook really helpful, right? Because people aren't going, maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine people, if they're looking for a self-storage facility, they go to Google, not to Facebook.
Yeah,
so having a Facebook website,
it's definitely useful to have. I go into that later, like which are citation links or just like other places on the web. Again, like this, you know, Google wants to see all these different websites.
More backlinks, basically.
Yeah, citations and backlinks. Citations are like your business, the full citation of your business, not just a backlink to the website. So you want a Facebook. So that's definitely going to help with SEO, having a Facebook, having Apple Maps, having Bing Maps, having Google. And then there's some guys I saw, we're not doing it, but there's some guys out there doing some Facebook marketing. They're doing that like what's called top of funnel type stuff, where you might put a video out there about your facility. And then this gets a little more complex where you can retarget those people. It's not impossible. You can learn this stuff. You can retarget people that watch your videos on Facebook. And they call this top of funnel, meaning awareness, basically. People are aware of your company. You could do, you should have a Facebook page. But
again, well, and maybe you'll get to this at the end, right? Like for us small facility owners on an individual basis, right? Like when you're not at the point of like, hey, you're going to build this massive like portfolio all under the same brand. What are those 5 like routine action items that you do and the frequency that you do?
So I think you need a good website that converts. I'll go through this faster then. All right, you need a good website that converts. Dude, you need a good website. That's it. And you should have multiple different pages, and you should have good copy on your website. So here's my website list. You want to have photos, your prices, the ability to purchase online. If you can, it is not that hard, or have your website guy add Google Analytics and Google Search Console. That allows you to see the number of people going to your pages, different pages, and it allows to see how your website's popping up on Google Search. You should have your email, ratings and reviews, and a 100% accurate NAP, name, address, phone number. This is like the main thing when you start talking about these citations, which you can just use Bright Local. They'll blast out your business to 100 different websites, yellowpages.com, all these other like kind of lower tier listing websites. The top tier ones, obviously being Bing and Google and Apple Maps.
And what is Bright Local?
Bright Local is just an SEO company that does a bunch of different things. And one of their services that we used was a citation manager, where they, again, blast out your name, address, phone number, descriptor, pictures to like 100 different websites. So now your website is listed throughout the internet. People can see it on those listing sites, even if they're not that popular. And it helps with Google seeing your business everywhere with an accurate name, address, and phone number.
Again, it's basically more backlinks to your website. You're getting more presence, right or wrong?
Yeah, yep. But again, citations are like even not necessarily more important, but they're like separate from backlinks in a way. Again, it's not just a link to your website; it's a spot on the internet that says this business exists with your name, address, and phone number. So
continued proof of your business everywhere. So
yeah.
Now, what about what about Sparefoot, and how is that different than Bright Local? Because I've heard people say like Sparefoot, maybe they don't like it, but it's necessary because that's what really helps you dominate Google.
Sparefoot is one of those aggregator websites, right? But it's one that's specifically tailored to the self-storage industry, and they're charging you. They have different pricing models, right?
Yeah.
Not 100% sure on exactly all their different pricing models, but they're like customers are going to Sparefoot, and then they buy on Sparefoot, they get taken to your website or however it works, and then Sparefoot takes a cut for, I guess, the lifetime value of the customer. And all Sparefoot really does is beat you on SEO.
So do you recommend using Sparefoot in addition to all these things, or just going like with your own, getting up in SEO on your own?
First, get up on SEO on your own,
okay,
because it's not that hard. First, see if you can dominate number one in your market without Sparefoot. Then, if you want to play around with Sparefoot and understand how Sparefoot works, then you can do it. But this stuff is not hard stuff. This stuff you can do, or you can hire somebody to do. But it's probably worth digging into a little bit yourself. So it's like your website. You're telling me you can't do most of this stuff? This isn't that hard. On Easy Storage Solutions, this is not hard. This is a couple YouTube videos.
Sure.
Your home page, your rates. This has a very high click-through rate on a lot of websites. And you should have your multiple call to actions on your rates page. How much your storage units cost to buy self-storage. So our rates page takes you directly to our listing page of all our units where the prices are. And about us, a contact, a blog that's not crap, directions, that's going to have some good keywords in it based on location, an FAQ. Again, this is all just like building up. This is not weirdo stuff. This is like, dude, just make your website look nice with some helpful stuff to your customers that they might like. I don't know about a privacy policy and terms and conditions, if that helps or not, but whatever, if you want to put that. This is technical SEO, a sitemap, and a robots.txt file. I'm not going to get too much into technical SEO, but it's basically like the actual kind of back end of your website, how it's designed, different like HTML type stuff that Google crawls and looks at that can help you with your SEO. That does get more technical. But the one thing I do like from a technical SEO standpoint, which I think is the hardest part of SEO, Well, it's the most technical part by definition. If you're using ESS, there's not much to technical SEO because you're so limited in the ESS web designer that there is no technical SEO. There's only a couple options, which I think you can edit like titles and a couple other things. I forget. But
So, okay, so, and I keep, maybe I'm harping on this too much, but all this makes sense. Overall, what you're telling me is, hey, you're trying to build an online presence, and the more that you're on the internet, the more backlinks you have, the more citations you have, the more presence overall, the quicker you're going to show up on Google Maps or just on Google search. You know, I'm in Metro Detroit, so if you search self-storage Detroit, Michigan, if you're doing all this correctly, right? And it's, again, I know it's hard to compete with the REITs, the big portfolios, but if you're doing it correctly, like, you are going to pop up on a higher place. Now, my question is, for somebody like us, like me or you, right? And when we have a small team, right? We don't have big teams, but what are the routine tasks that, like, if you have a virtual assistant who's doing your kind of your property management, like your software management, what are those action items that, like,
I'll do the action items right now. So let's go through it.
Can you type them in here too?
I'll have to do them. I'd have to do them at the end. So get photos, make a nice website with this checklist here, right? I go into some traditional marketing, right? Curb appeal of your facility, social media marketing. It's free to post on Facebook. Make a Facebook post or make a Facebook profile and post to it. Email campaigns. Why not blast out some email campaigns? You can have your customers refer. Set up Bright Local and get 100 citations from Bright Local. It's like $400. Manually, don't use Bright Local to make your Facebook, Google, Apple, Yelp, and Bing. Do those manually. So set up, like I just said, Facebook, Google, Apple, Yelp, Bing. Set those up yourself. Aggregators, we talk about that. A lot of people are kind of against them. That I'll let you make that decision after this is all done. Your Google business profile. This is like probably your number one for local SEO, having this thing fully fleshed out. There's a whole list of stuff that you can add, but make your Google business profile, like I said, right? Facebook, Google, make your Google business profile and add all this stuff. Watch a handful of videos on optimizing your Google business profile. There's all kinds of stuff you can add to it. Posts, reviews, description, service area, products, services, at name, address, phone number, right? A COVID update, other photos. I'm calling this stuff, right? AKA populate your business listing. So register your Google business profile manually and populate it with all that good quality content. Register at Bing, populate it. Register at Yelp, populate it. Probably don't use Yelp. If you want to watch a video or two on Yelp's business model, basically what they do is you list your company on Yelp, and then they nickel and dime you for every little bonus. Like, if you don't want competitors on your Yelp profile, you got to pay $10 a month. It's like Yelp's kind of the mafia of the internet. Don't tell them I said that. But anyways, register at Yelp and add some stuff there. Probably don't use Yelp. You can spend thousands. Apple Maps, register, populate it. Facebook, register, populate it. Branding, pick a nice brand, make a little brand. Let me see.
Now Apple Maps is separate. Like, they don't have
Apple Maps, Google Maps, Facebook, Bing.
So you have to create an Apple Maps profile.
Yep.
So just because you get on Google Maps doesn't mean you're going to get on Apple Maps.
No. All those are separate. Yep. And that's huge. A nice and you're populating all this stuff. Bing Maps, I don't even know if there's Bing Maps, but whatever. Bing business listing allows you to automatically port your Google business profile information into Bing Maps or whatever. So that's nice. Doesn't take much time. Versus, I think Apple Maps, you got to populate that stuff yourself. But again, if you make a really nice Google business profile, there's content in there. There's listings, there's product listings, there's reviews, there's all this stuff. And a quality description of your business, right? Make it amazing. Then you can use that on your Apple Maps profile too. So register all these, make it, have an awesome website. Branding, pick a little brand. Now here, so that's a checklist, I think. Let's see if there's anything more. No, I have the monkey suit thing here. I'll go into that. But that's your basic checklist. That's what I would start with. Then if you want to go to the next level, once you've done all that, you can start playing around with Facebook ads and then Google pay-per-click ads, which are, you can do it. It is not impossible and it is not terribly difficult. Now, if you're a super, super busy guy, I mean, this is that top part. I've done it twice now for 2 facilities. Like I said, I'm not some like top tier expert. But yeah, it takes 40 hours, maybe more, writing good quality copy, right? Writing a good blog post, writing good copy on your website takes a lot of time. And I'd be careful, side note, I'd be careful with outsourcing, writing blogs and writing copy for your website because the guys online that are really cheap, like on Fiverr, a lot of that is plagiarized, and they're actually really good at plagiarizing it and like hiding it from the plagiarism detectors. And then Google won't rank plagiarized content. So it doesn't, to my knowledge, it doesn't necessarily penalize you. And again, everything I say is not like the word of God. Nobody knows Google's algorithm except for Google.
Got it.
But from my knowledge, they won't penalize you for using plagiarized content, but you won't get a benefit. So why the heck do you even have it?
Got it. Okay.
So you can go into pay-per-click and Facebook ads later. I think that's a whole nother thing. That's a bunch of YouTube videos to watch, registering those accounts. And then I do a quick thing here. Why not do some traditional marketing? I joked around about getting Clayton to go out and dress in a monkey suit and hold his sign. It's cheap. Flyers, pens, frisbees, a lot. I hear this all the time on these different, on Clubhouse and on these different podcasts. People do them. Whatever, give it a shot. It's cheap. Texting all your family and friends. Again, it's cheap. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you partner with the Chamber of Commerce and send out an email to all the Chamber of Commerce companies and say, hey, I'm a new storage facility. We're glad to offer a Chamber of Commerce discount or whatever.
Yep. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, I think it's, maybe the next step for us, right, would be putting together an action item list and like the frequency that's done. So it's kind of just like a simple checklist for the virtual assistant or whoever's doing it.
Yeah.
Where they're doing it for us and they're doing it every time. So we know it's done. And if that's something new on the website once a month, or adding a picture or a discount or something to the GMB once a month, or, whatever it is, or playing, updating the pay-per-click, right? Like, I think we could get that checklist, that action list, like it would be great to automate this, right, in a simple way where you don't have to do it.
Yeah, I think that's important. You got to have, I made this whole list. There's a lot of stuff you probably could add to it, but as you go about doing it, you got to keep adding to your central list. So it's all organized in your mind, your SEO or digital marketing, whatever you want to call it, checklist. Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, let's cut it out here because we're at like the half-hour mark. I think that's a good video.
Nice. Solid.
All right. Thanks, Jordan.
Solid.